Guys, the fourth step within our six-step process of tokenization, and now we're just coming to this point, is the technical platform. Okay, so the first was the planning, strategic planning, advisory stage, think, right? Then you start project documentation, preparation. You start drafting everything, creating a pitch, creating a business plan, financial model, and then the third step would be legal. So you dive into the legal things, board of directors, offering memorandums, what type of investors, what regulations, exemptions, so on. And the fourth step is the technical platform, right? So, and when you think of this, you have to think that the platform has to support the token life cycle, right? So the whatever securities life cycle, it has to start with the minting process, through the distribution, through the dividend distribution, through the secondary, primary sale, secondary sale, probably staking, other things that can be done up to the point of the burning, right? When you actually finalize the life cycle of the security or RWA. So for example, you mint it, right? Something is born and something dies, and the blockchain is called burn, right? So you burn the token, you burn on securities. For example, if your security token is a DAT, so once you pay off the DAT, the token is burned, right? So there's no more digital representation of the DAT, because that is no longer, is valid. So that's how tokens are burned. So make sure that the platforms support full cycle of the token's life, right, from mint to burn. The second is the make sure, right, because we talk on the blockchain finance, make sure that the platforms that you look for. Again, Stobox is working on the Stobox 4 platform. Stobox has a number of IT products, but nevertheless, they are these platforms have to put all this information on the blockchain, right? So when there is a token and you're sending this token via the platform, there may be a centralized platform, right? There's a lot of them. Make sure that all the transactions are performed on chain, right? If tokenization does not reflect physically on chain, if the sending or transferring, minting, burning, whatever is not performed on chain, this is not a tokenized product, right? This is a centralized product. They are probably manipulating with these words, tokenization, because tokens, they live only on the blockchain, right? And even if you use the software to buy and sell, right, or to transport the token or do whatever with the token, it has to be represented on chain, right? This transaction has to be on chain. If it's not on chain, that's a scam. That's a scam. It's very important to acknowledge that there's in today's industry, there's the first and the only standard for the security tokens that was developed by the great company called Tokeny, and the standard is named ERC 4336. You can check this. T-Rex, I think that's how it's called. That's ERC, basically Ethereum Foundation accepted this initiative, and it's called AIP. So the proposal, they accepted this proposal from Tokeny, and it's created a standard. So now RWA has a standard in the form of a standard from Tokeny. That's perfect. That's great. We see, how different companies now incorporate that standard, which is great. With respect to Stobox, we have developed it's not a standard, right? Because we never filed it the way Tokeny filed it. Stobox didn't file it, but nevertheless, it's auditable set of smart contracts that Stobox utilizes for its clients. It's called STV2. You will be able to find out in the link below. Again, this is not an official standard. It takes years for Ethereum to validate different proposals, and I'm very happy that Tokeny actually made this first step. They standardized the the RWA functions in the form of their ERC 4336, which is again great. Different companies may use this standard for the token issuance and for the on-chain ID and so on, whereas Stobox, does its own way. They're very similar in a sense how they treat whitelisting, for example, or digital identities, restoration, because security tokens, the RWA tokens, are not like physical crypto. So there should be rights to restore things, right? If you lose your Bitcoin, that's it. If you lose your security tokens, because it represents the ownership, right? There should be processes how that can be restored. So all these different nuances are incorporated into the token standard, into the Stobox standard. Again, there's a number of other initiatives and working standards. Again, maybe it's wrong to call them standards because Tokeny created this standard. At the moment, probably we'll see more to come. But there are different ways of how people use the smart contracting in a build in order to bring compliance and RWA on the chain. So that's important. Third point, within the technical platform, the platform has to support main functionalities, right? Like what? Like a token holder registry. You have to, as an issuer, right? You have to be able to see who subscribed to your offerings, who owns your tokens, who owns a part of your company, who owns that asset, right? There should be processes like KYC, know your customer, KYB, know your business. There should be AML enforced, anti-money laundering. So it depends on, on what area you play, in what industry you are, what size of assets you tokenize, what's your average client. All these things may be more or less important, but they have to be there. The whitelisting has to be there. The dividends distribution has to be there. All the platform has to be legally compliant, right? So if you don't find the answers from the management of the platform or from the asset with respect to the legality of that, I would strongly suggest to withhold from any further actions towards that asset, because it may bring a number of risks. And you know how you invest, you increase the potential and you reduce the risks. So our scope is to reduce the risks. And when we say, okay, fourth step is a technical platform, I say main functions, right? Registry, KYC, KYB. And when I say so, that also means reduction of the risks, because if the platform treats the issuers and the investors well, if they treats the processes well, that significantly reduce the potential manipulations and fraud and so on and so forth. So that's important point. And the last, with that but not least, some of platforms, depending on their structure, may require licensing. I will give an example. For example, Stobox Digital Securities Dashboard version 3 does not require any licensing because it's a white label solution, right? There is no single marketplace with numerous assets that investors are, exposed to. We're talking about, with Stobox, we're talking about the SaaS, which is a software as a service. We provide this for the issuers. They put the logo and they customize, and they would not require, in this step, in this process, would not require platform licensing. But if you actually look for marketplace kind of tokenizing solutions, majority of this, let's put it this way, would require licensing, and depending not only on the issuers, like who issuing the RWAs, but from the investor standpoint, who are buying them. So if I target US investors as a centralized tokenized platform, right, marketplace, presumably that type of business would require licensing from United States. And again, same with Europe, same with MENA, same with Asian. So again, step 4, technical platform, very important. Look for the life cycle, right? So the platform has to support the life cycle. It has to incorporate smart contract standards that actually support the main functions, registries, KYC, KYB, whitelisting, dividends distribution, so forth. Make sure it's all compliant, legally recognized, and has licenses if they require so. So that was the 4th step, technical platform.